Everyone, Repel here, and I have another Wi-Fi battle for you. And I just gotta be honest with all my viewers, haven't actually been uploading Wi-Fi battles as often as I should. And the lack of Wi-Fi battles has made me rusty. It actually has. And therefore this match against my opponent Sapphire today was actually a very close match. So Sapphire has a Sylveon, Serperior, Talonflame, Mega Metagross, Hydreigon, and Milotic. I got the Snorlax, Exeggutor, Sableye, Feraligatr, Thundurus, and Heatran. I'm telling you, this was quite a dangerous match, simply because it was such a close battle. My opponent predicted that I would lead off with the Heatran and sent out the Milotic, which is really terrible on my part, so I'm switching out of here, expecting a Scald. Now, he could burn me with a Scald, but you know, my Feraligatr does have a Lumberry. So he does go for a Scald, and let us see if he does get that single burn. And unfortunately for my opponent, he does not get a burn, so that is really sweet. So he's switching out, like holy shit, don't know what to do. I'm actually gonna go for a Dragon Dance right here, expecting the Serperior. I'm actually expecting the Serperior, but I do have Ice Punch on my Feraligatr. And sure enough, I really thought I could kill, but no, the Serperior actually lives, and he will decimate me with Leaf Storm. And Feraligatr completely goes down, which is so ironic, because if you guys have watched my last battle, my Feraligatr did so much work. But he will go down. He will go down, but it's also thanks to that Serperior sitting at such a low percent of health, I'm able to send out my revenge killer. Honestly, I love Thundurus as just a revenge killer. It's fast, it hits hard, and it has a Volt Switch. And what is really great is that none of my opponent has any immunities to electric types. Send out the Sableye, but of course he will send out the Sylveon, which is fine. I'm expecting a Choice Specs Hyper Voice, but I do have Heatran that will resist it 4 freaking times, which is actually a really great pivot, because now I can scare him away and I get a free turn to set up some Stealth Rocks. And honestly, I need to set up my Stealth Rocks because my opponent has a Talonflame. And I don't think my opponent has a Defogger nor a Rapid Spinner. So as soon as I land my Stealth Rocks, it is basically all set. But we don't know. We don't know who the winner is, but I'm telling you, these Stealth Rocks matter quite a lot. Expecting a Scald, I will go for the Exeggutor, and actually my Exeggutor is invested in bulk, so he can actually live 1 Ice Beam. But I also thought maybe my opponent would switch out, fearing the grass move and go into Talonflame or Metagross, so I'm going to go back into Heatran, countering the Talonflame or Metagross, but he actually stayed in with an Ice Beam. So then I thought, damn, I actually should have just stayed in with my Exeggutor. My Exeggutor could have eaten those Ice Beams pretty darn well, and then I could just go for some Seed Bombs. This go for Scald, it doesn't do anything, however he actually gets a burn, and that completely soiled my plan. Had he not get a burn, I probably could have lived at least 2 Ice Beams and managed to throw up a rest. But because of this, I have to go for a rest right here, right now. I am slower, so naturally I have to go for the rest this turn. Otherwise he would kill me. So I go for the rest, I eat my Chesto Berry, and hopefully I can harvest another Chesto Berry. However, I don't harvest it, so I'm a little paranoid right here. So I'm switching back into Snorlax, expecting the Ice Beam. I'm switching a lot in front of this Milotic. The only thing that can really harm my opponent's Milotic is, of course, my Thundurus. But even so, my Thundurus' Thunderbolt actually cannot one-hit KO a Milotic. That is just how defensive Milotic is. Now I'm expecting the Scald. Thank God he did not predict me to switch back into Thundurus. He could have went for the Ice Beam and that would have done a lot more. Again, I just went for a Volt Switch because I know a Thunderbolt could not kill. But had I known that he would actually switch out, I could have just went for like a Hidden Power Ice or even a Focus Blast, and that would do so much more to Hydreigon. But I actually thought he would stay in. My opponent is actually very confident with his Milotic, and you guys will see. I'm gonna go for a substitute, expecting the Draco Meteor. The Draco Meteor is such a bread and butter move on a Hydreigon, which is sweet. You know, I'm behind the sub, so I'm safe, and not to mention, his special attack will be dropped twice, and I get to also scout if he is a Life Orb or a Choice Holder. And as a matter of fact, he is holding the Life Orb. So I found out 2 things already, that he loves Draco Meteor, and number 2, he's holding Life Orb. I'm gonna predict him to switch out, so I went for the sub, but I totally forgot, yes, he does have Sylveon. And some of you might be thinking, well, you're at least behind the sub. Well, that doesn't matter, because Hyper Voice can bypass substitutes. And Sableye is very weak to fairy types, especially if the Sylveons carry choice specs. And usually they do. So I have to go back into Heatran, and even though Heatran resisted 4 times, Hyper Voice is still going to do quite a lot. It's almost going to be a 2 or 4 hit KO. But my opponent obviously does not want to get hit by a steel move. I could have went for the Earth Power or even a Fire Blast, but no, I went for a Flash Cannon because I was really paranoid that Sylveon might have like Hidden Power Ground or something. But yeah, Fire Blast and Earth Power would do a little bit more to this Milotic. But hey, some damage is better than nothing. I'm going to go back into Exeggutor expecting a water move. My opponent actually predicts that super well, but I'm thinking he probably expected me to switch into the Thundurus. Good thing I did not send out my Thundurus. He probably could have just ended my Thundurus right here because my Thundurus has no bulk. Luckily, I did harvest my Chesto Berry, so I am free to go for a rest. And I know what you guys are thinking. It's like, okay, Repel, like he's just gonna keep using Ice Beam, and you're gonna go for a rest. You know, it's gonna be a stall fest, and you're not even gonna do anything to this Milotic, which is true. I can't really do too much to this Milotic yet. However, I do have Curse on my Exeggutor, and seeing how he has to use 3 Ice Beams to kill me, I can actually safely go for 1 Curse per every 2 Ice Beams. And if my opponent decides to stay in and let me keep using curses all I want, eventually I can even eat up his Talonflame's Brave Bird. That's how incredibly bulky Exeggutor is. And honestly, I can't wait for the Alola version of Exeggutor. I'm gonna love Exeggutor even more. I just hope that Alola Exeggutor can be used as a bulky sweeper like this one as well. Unfortunately, I do not harvest my Chesto Berry. I think I have a 30% chance or 33% chance to harvest 1 freaking Chesto Berry every turn, but as you can see, like 2 turns have already passed and I haven't gotten a single Chesto Berry. And from this range, if I don't wake up, then he will finish me off, so I'm forced to switch out. Expecting another Ice Beam, I'm going to go into my Thick Fat Assault Vested Snorlax. Thick Fat ability helps me take ice attacks even better, and Assault Vest helps me take special attacks even better. That is why that freaking Ice Beam did absolutely nothing. I went for the Body Slam, really expecting my opponent would stay in with the Milotic and just go for a Scald. But that's fine, I don't mind going for a Body Slam on Metagross. Maybe I can get a Paralysis, but no, I don't. Now, I'm really expecting him to Mega Evolve and go for a Hammer Arm. Like, that's just way too obvious. But I have no choice. I really don't want to bet. So I'm going to go into my Ghost type expecting any fighting move. And as a matter of fact, my opponent does go for that Brick Break, and I'm so glad he did not overpredict. Had he go for a freaking Meteor Mash, he probably could have destroyed the living shit out of me. He actually confidently stayed in go for the Bullet Punch, but come on, my Sableye is my defensive wall in my team. Sableye may not be the best defensive wall, but he is still not too bad. And I did land my Will-O-Wisp, which is fantastic. I'm going to go for my priority, Recover now. So if my opponent wants to stay in and go for his most powerful Meteor Mash attack, it's not going to hurt me that much because I did burn him. But even so, from this range, that did like almost like 40%. It's a little bit crazy. but I know for a fact I can still live quite a few more punches from this Metagross. So I'm gonna go for the substitute now. Hopefully, maybe he can miss his Meteor Mash, and lo and behold, he did. I'm like, holy crap, amazing, truly amazing. I'm behind the sub, and this Metagross is burned, and he has just lost like 55% HP. Like, how great is that? Nothing can be better. And now I'm gonna go for my recover, so I'm almost back at full, which is fantastic. Yeah, he can break my sub, but in the process, I'm totally outlasting this burned Metagross. He did get a +1 attack, which is a little bit frightening. However, it's still not enough to one-shot me, and I still don't think it's enough to 2-hit KO me. He's switching out with such a small amount of HP. I'm very surprised my opponent was switched out, but then I could see why. He's very sick and tired of my substituting Sableye. And honestly, Sylveon with Hyper Voice is a great Sableye counter, because number one, Sylveon is a fairy type, and number two, Hyper Voice bypasses substitute, so I have to switch out. He's obviously going to go for a Hyper Voice, because honestly, Choice Specs Hyper Voice will still do so much, either to my Heatran, and in this case, my Assault Vest Snorlax. Like, look at that, Snorlax is such a defensive wall, and he holds an Assault Vest, but even so, it's a 3-hit KO from this range. I have no choice, go for a Body Slam, do it just as much as I can, and thank the gods I did get that Paralysis, and because I got Paralysis, I can outspeed this Sylveon and end it once and for all. Like, holy shit, finally, this goddamn hyper voicing shit is finally gone. I'm just kidding, honestly. Sylveon is a great Pokemon, and I respect my opponent for using it, but damn, Hyper Voice is a little bit too powerful. I only have 45 HP, I'm just gonna let my opponent finish me off, and not to mention, he loses even more HP with Life Orb, and from this range, I can actually finish him off now with a Thundurus. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do. He can switch out all he wants. I actually went for the Hidden Power Ice, which Metagross obviously will resist it, but come on. Stealth Rocks and Burn? A measly, like, weak little Hidden Power Ice is enough to finish off Metagross. Really awesome. Two huge threats out of the way. We got the Sylveon out of the way, and we got the Mega Metagross out of the way. But we still got this huge ass wall in front of me. He comfortably switched into my Milotic right in front of my Thundurus, because my opponent knows that he can live one Thunderbolt. I really have no choice, just go into Sableye, and honestly, Sableye did all his work. He burned the freaking Metagross. There's really nothing else that Sableye can really do. So essentially, Sableye is sort of like my death fodder, which is fine, but I'm not sacrificing my Sableye just yet. I'm gonna go for Recover. I know for a fact he's gonna go for Scald, but hey, maybe I can not get a burn. Because look at that, you know, that's a 3-hit KO. Unfortunately, he gets a burn, so with burn, that's actually a very close to a hit KO now. So I'm stuck here. I'm genuinely stuck. I could go for a Recover, but you know, that'll just waste more turns. Or I can pray that it's not a 2-hit KO, and just go for a Will-O-Wisp. And that's exactly what I do. I give this Milotic a taste of her own medicine. Does go for a Scald. I know I can live it, but holy fuck, my opponent gets a critical and I live with 3 HP. So yeah, Burn will finish me off, and Sableye, I guess he burned 2 things, you know, he burned the Metagross and now he burned the Milotic. And now Sableye has to leave. I'm a little bit sad, but honestly, that is okay. That is okay. At least I got a Will-O-Wisp. Gonna go back to Exeggutor. Hopefully some miracle happens. I don't know. Actually, I did another switch here, expecting the Ice Beam. I'm gonna stall a little bit more turns so that the burn damage will slowly eat away this Milotic. And if this burn damage slowly eats away this Milotic, then maybe my opponent can be forced to use a Recover, and once he's forced to use a Recover, then maybe I can safely switch into my Thundurus. That is the plan. That is the plan. So I'm expecting the Scald now, because one Scald will destroy Heatran. And honestly, Scald will still do an okay amount, he actually predicted that I would switch again. So hey, you know what? Thumbs up for my opponent, right? For predicting all my switches. Now I do harvest my Chesto Berry in this turn, which is a little bit late. I could switch out and preserve my Exeggutor, but I'm just like, why the hell should I? My opponent has a Talonflame and a Hydreigon, which both have very super effective attacks towards my Exeggutor, so there's really no point to preserve it. Again, another death fodder, and now I'm left with only 2 Pokemon. Only 2, and things are a little bit desperate here. So I have no choice but to go into my Thundurus. That's the only thing I can send out now, and hopefully from this range I'm just able to kill it. And holy shit, was I able to finish it off. I think that crit absolutely mattered. Like, thank the gods, thank Arceus that I landed my crit. And once that Milotic is finally out of the way, I can sweep, late game sweep with my Thundurus. Hydreigon will finish off. I mean, that's what happens when you switch around so many times. Stealth Rocks are bound to hurt you. And he can go for the priority Brave Bird. He can, but keep in mind, Thundurus is an electric Pokemon, so he resists it. But not that well, like holy crap. Left with like 4 HP. And now I can finish this Talonflame with my 3rd Thunderbolt. But damn, this was quite the close match. Thank you, Sapphire. That was an amazing match. Despite my rustiness, I still managed to pull this battle off, so that was really great. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle. If you guys do, please remember to leave a like, make sure to comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next battle. Have an awesome day.